comment, folks.
Charles Day.
Yeah. How you doing there? Fine, thank you. No comment, folks.
Again, District 30, Local 6328, Jose Soto, President. Vice President of the AIS. Coordinator of the campaign that we're leading against Armco, Carl Norris. Olivetz from Safety and Health. And from District 20, another director from District 30, Frank Vickers. Another director from District 33, Dave Foster.
Wow, we're doing great.
It was an emotional moment as two generations of James Porter's victims, some from Minnesota, others from Massachusetts, shared hugs of victory.
I want to say thanks to everyone that's been supporting me, my family and my boyfriend, everyone. It's so hard to get everybody to believe that something happened. I just want to tell all the children out there that there are people that will listen, even if it only takes 12.
In court, James Porter listened stoically as the 12-member jury handed down its verdict in a case that might have never seen the light of day if it wasn't for this man, Frank Fitzpatrick, the alleged Massachusetts victim who tracked down Porter and made his sordid history the subject of national attention.
This is a really happy day, and we're glad that justice was done. I was really, as each verdict came in, I was, more and more excited about it.
This is a Christmas present to all of us. I mean, I personally said I wanted this as my Christmas present. Now it is. It's come true.
As for Porter, he avoided cameras today. His attorney did his talking.
He's obviously very disappointed and very distraught, and he wants to just go home to his family.
Just the opposite feeling from the victim's older sister, Anne Marie, whose testimony that Porter also abused her helped the prosecution.
I think because we were telling the truth and the jury knew that, I think that's what made the difference.
The jury foreman says that was exactly the case. And as for Porter's past,
all of us knew what had happened before, mostly. We knew about the cases on the East Coast and in northern Minnesota. We knew that he had admitted to those things. And that made it very difficult. It's kind of where there's smoke, there's fire thing. And we had to put that totally out of our minds as a jury in order to give him a fair shake.
But the question remains whether Porter's history as a priest who abused as many as 100 children will affect his eventual sentence.
From a sentencing standpoint, his life is not on trial. We are obligated as prosecutors, notwithstanding the claims of overreaching, we're obligated to deal with everybody as individual human beings for what they have been convicted of.
The victim in this case wants to see Porter in prison, as well as in treatment.
But he is a sick man, and I just hope he gets help.
So does Frank Fitzpatrick, who might still get a chance to testify at Porter's sentencing next month.
And part of our lives, of all of us, is to prevent this kind of thing from happening again in the future. That's part of our lives. So, it's not over. It can't be over, and it's not going to be over ever.
Mrs. Engstrom's second grade class project has made the hallway near her room a major gathering spot at the Pattison School. A coffee klatch, you could call it. The assignment, show an animal in its habitat. Erin Therian made a mole, duck, and bear habitat all in one.
Because I keep I kept finding new kinds of animals that I never even thought of, and then I put them in there.
Elizabeth Frazier picked a dolphin because it's her favorite.
And then since we didn't have any gray, my dad painted it purple.
Luckily, Mom came home soon and corrected Dad's faux pas.
Then I went outside with a light to get the rock, and then I glued the rocks on with tacky glue.
Lisa Lewandowski and her dad got bored one day and spent the next 5 weeks working on Littleville.
Well, you had to make an animal habitats, and I made a person.
From a gas station to a motel, every element of a human's habitat is in perfect detail. It seems the project was a major success.
The whole class liked it, and some people forgot to do it, but they really liked everybody else's project.
From Kevin's Bear Cave to Lisa's Main Street, everyone seems to see things in a whole new light. In Superior, Heather Filkins, News 6.
If that's the trend they're going in, that's fine. That's the way I'll handle it next year. And I don't begrudge them anything. That's not ever been done before in the past. We put a cap on grants and donations, a cap that our children can live with. That account has risen 68% over the last 7 years. And I added a new bar to our bar graph. It's the projected total for next year. Those grants will be limited now to the amount of money taken in by the hotel motel tax. It's something I've asked for.
Is the environmental impact of modal shift. It's severe. There are tremendous impacts not only by hydrocarbon emissions, also by the
research is a very, very important factor in all this, because we recognize over the past 20 years, as I said before, we recognize the problem, we go in immediately, and we try to tackle it. Sometimes we make things worse, and we want to be sure that we don't do that here.
So if you would send me your name, I'd certainly put you on.
Minutes of the meetings in the Federal Register, but because it comes under the...
What was that you caught, Mike? Channel cat?
Okay.
What about your size?
Don't forget to say we were trolling on the Guardian. No. There's no attention to them. They were catching so many. That's why I told them to start putting them in the cooler.
Moose Lake residents were slated for a levy increase of $9,300 for 1993, but city councilors have now reduced property taxes by 1.4%. The reasoning?
Well, just in looking at the property tax bite that the county and the school and the city takes, and none of the other ones were able to reduce theirs, we did it as kind of a gesture to show that, yes, we know that we have to hold the line on spending, and if we can make a reduction without hurting services, we should do that to show people that we are listening to what they have to say.
Residents of Moose Lake say, well, they won't see much of this reduction in their pocketbooks. They do appreciate the gesture.
Well, I feel good about anything that lowers taxes.
So you think they did a good thing?
Yes, I'd say it was a good thing. Yeah.
Do you think they should have tried harder to lower it a little bit more?
Well, it isn't an easy thing nowadays to lower taxes, but I'm for it.
It's a good move. Because if they go any less, they'll just put a tax on something else.
We just have to try to keep it down as best we can. That's all we can do.
Councilors say the move won't require the elimination of any city services, just some shifting of funds. In Moose Lake, Janine Johnson, News 6.
For 10:45.
Working at his dispatcher desk, Mike Delmont took a very disturbing call this past weekend. A man from the Twin Cities said he'd been contacted by someone claiming to be a state patrol officer in Duluth, and that the man's boss had been in an accident and needed money for car repairs.
So he sent $240, I believe, through Western Union, and he should have called us first to verify.
Delmont says if the man had contacted the State Patrol first, he would have saved himself from becoming the victim of a scam. Instead, moments after he sent his cash, it was picked up, not in Duluth, but in New York.
What's happening is people are calling, claiming they are a state trooper, and indicating that the individual they're calling, their relative or a friend or a co-worker has been involved in an accident, and that they should wire $200 to $400 to a certain Western Union location.
Investigators say the scam has been in operation for the past year, but this is the first time Duluth troopers have been targeted. While authorities have been slow to stop the scam, they say residents can help speed up the process. Captain Jim Lane says he believes the con game is working because police trust troopers, but they need to realize handling cash transactions are not part of their job, and people should verify any suspicious calls with their local state patrol office before sending any money. In Duluth, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Much has been said about drinking and driving, but despite all the negative publicity and educational campaigns, people continue to operate vehicles while under the influence of alcohol.
Overall, last year, more than 22,000 Americans lost their lives, and another 355,000 were injured in highway crashes involving alcohol. It's clear to us and the American public that this battle is far from over.
People who drink excessively put themselves at more risk than just for vehicle accidents. Alcohol affects the nerves that control the heart, and heavy drinking can cause rapid arrhythmic beats that can require a doctor's attention. And perhaps more importantly, no conclusive studies have been done on the long-term effects of binge drinking.
There's a lot of evidence that anything to excess you pay a price for. And the effects of alcohol, whether that affects, I think that there are things we don't know about. We don't know what that does. We don't know how much stress it puts on the body.
The experts suggest that perhaps your body's best defense is to buffer any alcohol consumption with food, and the best advice they can give is moderation. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
Well, as you can see, there's not a lot of people around here, and a lot of stores are trying to get rid of a lot of stuff, so I guess you get some pretty good deals too.
It may look like the North Pole, but it's really Duluth, Minnesota. No doubt Santa Claus was at home in this climate last night. Wind speeds of 40 miles per hour and wind chills close to 50 below are what most people woke up to this morning. Not to mention a few snowdrifts to shovel through, but no complaints here.
I love the weather. It's great. I wouldn't move anywhere else. Probably more north.
Not even from out-of-towners. This gentleman actually volunteered to snowblow his relative's driveway.
Grew up in it my whole life. Just used to it. It's easy to dress for cold, and it's you can only get so naked when it's hot out.
For motorists, however, today's weather was no laughing matter. It was a battle between them and the elements. In too many cases, the elements won. In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.
Paul Stewart walks with a limp, but considering what he's been through, he'll take it. You see, Paul was struck by a bus in Minneapolis last year. He was treated in Duluth, and the early prognosis called for possible amputation. As you can see, Paul's doing very well, but he didn't do it alone. This Christmas, he wanted to say thank you to the people who gave him a boost along the way. So Paul spent the entire Thursday giving Christmas gifts to everyone who was there for him after the accident.
But it's given from my heart to let those people know that I appreciate their efforts on my behalf, that it hasn't been taken for granted. And I think a lot of people, that's when you're in adversity and things go bad, you don't remember those people that have really helped you. And I'm doing this to let them know that someone's very appreciative of their efforts and time.
It's been a tough year for Paul Stewart. Besides his accident, he also lost his wife. A religious man, he manages to stay upbeat, always looking on the positive side of everything.
I'm still supposed to be in a walker and a cast, and with foot amputation, which I thought was inevitable. So prayer does help.
Paul carries around the x-rays from his accident, and if you run into him like we did, he'll tell you all about it. And he'll probably tell you a lot more. So if you're in a hurry, stay away from Paul Stewart. But if you want to meet somebody who will brighten your day, well then Paul's your man. In Duluth, Ted Rowlands, News 6.
If you were able to get your car started and find a parking space, you were probably bringing back those gifts that weren't exactly on your Christmas list. Rod Barnes' wife forced him to go to the mall today.
She bought the shirts, I'm returning them.
Sandy Taro's sons were the impetus for her trip to the mall.
They were both for our sons, and they decided they either didn't want them or their sizes were wrong, so they're up here looking for exchanges.
Retailers riding high from a holiday season that may actually have turned a profit this year don't seem to mind the post-Christmas crowd.
I suppose there's a little bit of dread in the morning when you're first starting out, but once you get into the swing of it, it's the same thing every year. You get to see a lot of people you don't see otherwise, so it's fun.
Actually, if we're well prepared, the transition goes pretty smooth. So far everything is going very well, and it isn't actually as bad as it may look at certain times.
Holiday returns can be such a hassle. If you're lucky, you'll find a store that makes it easy for you. Here at Target, you can have a cookie and a cup of coffee. Sit back and relax, because the wait could be quite some time. But if you could bypass the lines, you couldn't miss the signs. Sales signs as far as the eye could see.
Well, that's why we're here, because of the sales. I mean, my daughter and the wife particularly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We men, we stand in the background, you know. Shopping's kind of off to the side anyway.
And if you're really lucky, you get to sit in the background. In Duluth, Heather Filkins, News 6.
And when the call came in